Justin, I don't know if you're trying to start the intro, but you are still muted.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, guys. I apologize for that. I had this problem a few weeks ago on this, so I do apologize. So sorry for the delay. So here's the deal. Thank you all for joining. Before we get started with the program, I was making a comment on the intro. I was actually late to the call today because I was wrapping up a call on an expansion project. Things are really picking up here over the last 2 to 3 weeks. In fact, I would say we've had probably half a dozen projects that have started in the last couple weeks, either new business opportunities, expansion opportunities, companies that are looking to add jobs, build buildings, renovate buildings. So definitely seeing a turn in our economy. I realize we're still all being greatly impacted. There are still businesses that are not able to open, and definitely we understand that. But I at least wanted you all to know that we are really seeing that big uptick, and it's very positive and heartwarming to see that turn in our economy. We know how low things got in terms of business closures and unemployment and all that. So very grateful to have that. So just wanted to give you that note of positive news this morning. Got several items to go through today on the call, but we do have a special guest today. Many of you know her. She's been on a couple of previous calls, Emily Mara from the United Way. They've got a few things in the hopper that they're working on. They've been doing great work in our nonprofit community over the last few months, but I wanted to give Emily the opportunity to come on today and talk about some of the new things that they have going on. So with that, Emily, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, and thank you, Justin. So I'll make it really brief. We have been working with community partners to encourage individuals to take the census. Emily Barney is our co-partner who is also through the census and is helping us navigate making sure that everyone is counted. We have 80 yard signs thanks to Mo Shattuck Advertising Agency, and they're a 24 by 24 double-sided full-color yard sign. They are very easy to read, and it's just a one-sentence, how is this impacting our community that's taking the census, and it includes the website to go to. We're looking to place 80 signs around Shiawassee County, and if your place of business is interested in helping to promote taking the census by having one of these yard signs in your place of business, please do reach out to me. I'll send Justin an email after this, and it will have all my contact information as well as kind of just a quick 2-sentence about this opportunity. And if you're interested, please feel free to reach out to me. So thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks, Emily. Appreciate that. Yeah, please do send me a email with that information. I'll make sure we get that out to everybody. I do want to say, and this has been talked about before, the great work that many of you have done regarding the census. The last check I saw on it, we were up to 73%, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood. And we were ranked, I think, the 130th best or somewhere in that range county in the entire country out of over 3,000. So we're better than the state average. We're better than the national average. So that's really obviously very positive news. But we do want to continue to promote. I mean, we'd obviously love to have 100% participation, but we want to continue to promote because there are so many resources, so many dollars that are available from the census that come into, from the results of the census that drive our population that end up bringing those dollars into Shiawassee County. So very important. We're going to continue to promote it, continue to tell that story because that means real money from a number of different agencies into Shiawassee County. So, yes, we'll send that information out, but please consider being able to place one of those signs. So, with that, a couple of other items I wanted to hit, and we will have Cheryl Peterson, our SBDC consultant, join us next Thursday to give a more in-depth update on this. But the big funding news this week is EIDL is back open. So many of you are familiar with it, but some of you are not because it hasn't been open for a while. It is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program through the Small Business Administration at the federal level. It is a initiative that's been around a long time. It was actually put in place years ago to help communities go through sort of natural disasters like hurricanes, floods, things like that. So it's really meant for sort of a small geography. But what's happened, obviously, with everything going on nationally, we really have a national disaster. They have made that program available to businesses throughout the country to apply for. So it is a grant and a loan program through the SBA. The grant portion is an upfront cash advance of up to $10,000, $1,000 per employee. So you'd have to have 10 to qualify for the 10,000. But then they also have low interest loan money, direct loan money to help with your business. A couple of the other key differentiators from the PPP program, which many of you have applied for and you're working on loan forgiveness. It is a direct application to the Small Business Administration. So PPP was through the bank or credit union of your choosing. This would be straight through the SBA. And then the other key item is there are more ways to use the capital than PPP. Obviously, that has been predominantly focused on payroll. They've modified some of those standards a little bit, as you know, but really about payroll. This has more flexibility in what those dollars can be used for. So they early on had it open in March and April, but because of, well, quite honestly, because they did not have the staff in Washington to process all the paperwork. Unlike the PPP where it was run through a bank, this was direct. They did not have that staff, so they basically got overwhelmed in Washington and shut it down. And so it's not been open for a while. They did briefly reopen it for agricultural businesses, and I know a few that jumped in at that time, but it had been closed to any non-ag businesses until just this week in the last couple of days. So it's another tool in the toolkit for those of you who are, still looking at capital, still needing capital, still, interested in the grant portion. I would definitely encourage you to take a look at it. If only to go for the grant. And I can't tell you how many companies in Shiawassee County that got into the first tranche said to me, we got grant money before we got loan money, or even before we even got loan paperwork. So I thought that was interesting. And once again, you can take the grant up front and you don't have to take the loan. So they advance the money in the grant, and you can choose to take the loan or not take the loan. You can keep the grant. So it's a not as robust, obviously, as PPP because that's a much larger number that can be turned from a loan into a grant. This can only be a max of $10,000, but highly encourage you if you're still in need of capital. If you've not pursued it yet, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at it. And once again, this is not through the bank. This is a direct loan. So that's the latest I have on that. I'd be happy to answer any more questions you have right now, but I do want to have Cheryl, our Small Business Development Center person, come on the call next week for any more significant technical questions that you might have. But if you do have anything in the meantime, please let me know or jump on their website to begin that process. So that's pretty big news this week. PPP, I don't have anything really new on that other than, as I mentioned, we're going to have Cheryl Peterson come on next Thursday. She gave an update here a week or two ago. There have been a number of changes to PPP, mostly all good, I think, in terms of flexibility on the program. So we'll just have her on next Thursday to give an update and see where things stand. So those were two big items I wanted to mention. A few more things. I did send out last night a email on Baker College. We had Tony and Greg from Baker on the call last week for employers who might be interested in partnering with them on internship and hiring opportunities. The email I sent to you all yesterday had to do with how you actually get plugged in to those opportunities. So I would really highly encourage it. Baker's got some great things going on here in Owasso. They are growing. They have consolidated the Flint campus into Owasso, and they really want to be able to work more closely with companies in the area. So if your business would like to start an internship program, get an intern, hire direct, they have a number of great students across a variety of sectors. I'd highly encourage you to connect with Baker, and Greg and Tony's email are in that note that I sent to you. Another note I sent out, PMBC, Pure Michigan Business Connect, is doing a webinar on June 25th. So that's 1 week from today. We've got, I think, a pretty robust group of people that are going to be speaking on it, but it's about how businesses are pivoting during this crisis. So, and once again, you should have the email on that, but PMBC, I think, has been a great tool for businesses in Shiawassee County to use statewide. That's Pure Michigan Business Connect, by the way. I use a lot of acronyms in this business, so I want to make sure to spell that out. But it's a great tool, database to connect to other businesses for, sales, services, products, things like that. So I think this would be for any of our companies on the phone that, as you come out of this, are looking to diversify, looking to pivot, looking to find new customers, wanting to connect with other businesses across the state for those opportunities. Definitely something you would want to get plugged into. Just had a conversation with one of our local manufacturers on Monday about this. So great networking opportunity. Database website, a lot of good tools and resources surrounding PMBC. So if your business is interested in looking for those new customers across the state, in identifying some new sectors, things like that, that's definitely a resource you want to get plugged into, and that webinar next week would be very helpful. I do want to reiterate, too, we've talked about this several times, WorkShare. This is something that is growing quickly here in Shiawassee County. I'm talking to a number of organizations, both public sector and private sector, that are doing WorkShare. It is basically a way for you to bring people back, maybe not full-time, at a part-time level, though, and it allows them to do work for your company, but also still collect unemployment, particularly that $600 a week federal check. So obviously we all know that's been an issue in terms of getting some people to want to come back to work. This is a way to bring them back, to allow them to do work for you, but also be able to collect some of that money. So sent out some information from the state on that. If you've not yet pursued it, certainly potentially worthwhile to look into. And Jody from our team has pretty good information as well if you have any specific questions on that. And then just the normal stuff, testing and PPE. As always, we do maintain our PPE database of companies. We've got 19 in there providing products and services to help you safely reopen. So if you need that list, we'll continue to periodically send that out. But it's a good list of local people who can help you get masks and gloves and hand sanitizer and things like that. And then Memorial, as always, they do offer testing, both for the virus and for antibodies. So if you or any of your employees want to get testing, Memorial does offer that. And then finally, and coming full circle from the start of the call, jobs. If any company is looking for workers, please let us know. We've had this week alone 6 different businesses in Shiawassee County that have reached out to me and said, hey, we are hiring. We need people. So definitely good news, definitely positive. Once again, I realize that, a lot of businesses are still hurting, but it's really heartwarming to see many are coming back too. So I definitely feel like we've turned a corner economically and starting to see unemployment drop. And businesses slowly get back to normal. So just wanted you to be aware of that. And if any company on the phone is hiring, certainly feel free to let us know. We'll be happy to help promote. So with that, once again, I apologize for the mute on the first couple minutes, but we're good now. So anyone have any comments or questions for me on any of the things we talked about or anything else? Any comments or questions? Anybody have anything? Okay. Well, once again, everybody, thank you for joining. Emily, thank you. Please get in touch with her if you'd like to participate. We'll have more updates on EIDL and PPP next week, but if you need anything at all, feel free to get a hold of us. Thanks.